You ever feel like you can't fully trust anyone, no matter how close they are to you? Not your friends, not your partner, sometimes not even your own family. You listen, you smile, you act normal. But deep inside there's always a small voice telling you, don't trust too much. And if that sounds familiar, here's a question for you. Do you think this is just how you are, or did something make you this way? Because psychology says, people who don't trust anyone are not born like this. They become like this. For many, it starts with experience. At some point in their life, trust was broken in a way that left a deep mark. Maybe someone they relied on lied to them. Maybe they were betrayed when they least expected it. Or maybe they opened up once and it was used against them. That moment teaches the brain something powerful. It says, don't risk this again. So, instead of trusting naturally, they become cautious. They start observing more, overthinking more, questioning people's intentions. Not because they want to, but because their mind is trying to protect them. Then slowly it becomes a habit. They stop sharing too much. They avoid depending on others. They keep things to themselves. And even when someone genuinely cares, they struggle to believe it fully, because their mind is always asking, what if this goes wrong again? Another reason is emotional independence. Some people learn early that they can only rely on themselves. Maybe they didn't have consistent support growing up. Maybe they had to handle things alone, so over time they stop expecting help from others. They build a mindset that says, it's safer if I do everything myself. And while that sounds strong on the surface, it also creates distance. Because when you stop trusting others, you also stop letting people come close to you. There's also something called hyper-awareness. People who don't trust easily are often very observant. They notice small changes, tone of voice, body language, inconsistencies in behavior. They pick up on things most people ignore. And while this can be a strength, it can also make them overanalyze everything. A simple delay in a reply feels suspicious. A small change in behavior feels like a warning sign. And without realizing it, they start creating stories in their head to explain what might be happening. Most of the time, those stories are negative. Then there's fear of vulnerability. Trusting someone means opening up. It means letting someone see your real thoughts, your fears, your weaknesses. And for someone who has been hurt before, that feels risky. Because once you open up, you give the other person the ability to hurt you. So instead, they stay guarded. They talk, but not too deeply. They connect, but not fully. They stay present, but emotionally distant. And over time, it becomes their normal. But here's where it gets complicated. Not trusting anyone can feel like control. It feels like you are protecting yourself from disappointment, from betrayal, from pain. But at the same time, it also blocks something important. Connection. Because real connection requires trust. It requires you to take a small risk, to believe that not everyone is the same. And when that belief is missing, every relationship stays limited. You might have people around you, but still feel alone. Another layer is control. When you don't trust people, you try to control situations, you double-check things, you avoid depending on others, you keep backup plans. It gives you a sense of security, but it also creates stress, because you are always trying to manage everything on your own. And over time, that becomes exhausting. Now here's something important to understand. Not trusting people doesn't mean you are weak. In many cases, it means you adapted to protect yourself. It means you learned from your experiences. But the problem is that protection can stay even when the danger is gone. So you keep guarding yourself even when you don't need to. And that's where awareness matters. Because not everyone will hurt you. Not every situation will repeat your past. But your mind doesn't always know that. It keeps using old experiences to predict new ones. So the question becomes, How do you know when your instincts are protecting you and when they are limiting you? Because there is a difference between being careful and being closed. Being careful means you take time to trust. You observe, you understand people, but you still allow connection to grow. Being closed means you don't allow trust at all. No matter what someone does, you keep your guard up, and that difference changes everything. If you see yourself in this, take a moment and think about it honestly. Are you protecting yourself, or are you holding yourself back? Because at some point, not trusting anyone doesn't just protect you, it isolates you. And the truth is, trust is always a risk. There is no way around that. But without that risk, there is no real connection either. So maybe the goal is not to trust everyone, but to learn who deserves your trust and give it slowly instead of never. If this felt personal, say it honestly in the comments. Do you think people who don't trust anyone are right to be this way? Or do you think it holds them back more than it protects them?